Welcome back to PDX Biz Talk. This is the Portland Business Podcast. You know me already. Well, I hope you do. If you do not, I go by the name of Zeke Jones, aka Young Mill. And of course, well, we always got my boy Johnny in the house.
I'm here. I'm always here.
Of course, man. And we just be, we've been doing a lot of podcast episodes. And today we got a really cool one today, bro. I've been excited for this one because I know this dude real well. We got Mighty in the house tonight, man.
Come on.
Go ahead and clap it up.
Clap it up.
What's poppin'? What's good? He's a musician, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, amongst other things, bro. Right. But I'm pretty sure he could probably tell you better than I could. What's going on with you, bro?
Man, it's crazy to hear the word philanthropist.
You know
I love that being an artist has opened doors for me. Like an intro like that kind of helps me push myself forward in my life. So I don't know. I guess I would say, man, I'd say I'm a musician with a very open mind to breaking the stereotype of coming from the bottom, bro. Like being a bottom boy, from the dirt. I just have I'm very ambitious and I want to break ceilings, man. So I don't know. I don't have a title really, bro. I'm an artist that just look to break through.
Absolutely,
that's dope,
man.
yeah.
Student of the game.
As I've seen myself as well, man.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you working on currently? I know you probably got an album or something coming out. I don't know if it's what's going on. What's in the can?
Okay, yeah. So an album is definitely in the works. It was in the works at the end of last year. But some things happened in my family life. You feel me? So rest in peace, Grandma. My mother got diagnosed with breast cancer. So not to start it off on a sad note, but a lot of other things became very just more important. And so put that on the back burner, but I really am excited about 2023 having, projects on top of projects dropping. So possibly an EP, possibly, a sync licensing EP, so something that exists in a different space, and then also laced up PDX 2023.
That's dope.
You feel me? So
how does that affect you when you had goals coming into 2023? You had all this stuff planned out, and then obviously you don't expect that stuff that happens in your life. So how does that affect you coming out now? Do you just put that in the back burner like you said, or do you actually put more planning into it while you stop doing that?
Right. No, that's a great question. I think real life, a lot of people ask what motivation is or where you get your motivation from. And my motivation is from just real life events, actually going and living and being a part and being, in the situation. One of my phrases that I always live by is be here. Be here. Sometimes it's hard to be here, because we have so much else, other things going on. And so that's a big part of it, bro. It's like when I'm with my family, I just want to enjoy those moments, man, and not take it for granted. Yeah. But what you do is then you shift your logistical approach to things. You guys run business. I mean, shoot, this PDX Biz podcast, you feel me? So when you talk about biz talk, it's really about how can you shift your impact in what you're trying to move forward with. And for me, it was really hitting the drawing board and saying, all right, if I'm heavy sync license right now, if I'm heavy in the space of dropping records that exist in movies, TV, commercials, then I can do that from my home, from sessions that aren't that don't have this huge album process ahead of it, right? That I have to do an all-encompassing experience, and the songs have to be this or have to be that.
It's a different kind of workflow for you.
Yeah. So why not be effective in a different way?
Yeah.
And really, fix the plane while you flying it is like a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I just leap, bruh. Like I just go. So I think the family situations have really taught me to taper back. Be here, but don't be afraid to fix the plane while it's in the air. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. That's a great question. I've never had nobody ask me about some real life stuff like that. So
sometimes it's kind of harder to deal with.
Yeah.
Because as artists though, we can kind of deal with it in our own way and actually help fuel the art though.
Absolutely.
Do you find that your situation with it?
I'm very open and honest about where I came from, and I think that if you can't say that in your music, and then when something happened in your life, not go and be there for the people that you talking about in your music.
Absolutely, man.
You know, so it changes your trajectory in many ways, but a lot of times it's for the better because it treats the honesty of who you are, and it allows you to be transparent without feeling like you're not executing, if that makes sense, you know? So that's why when we sat down, I was like, man, I don't want that energy in my life to affect it. I'm gonna utilize it for fuel and understand that, like, that's why we here, bro.
Absolutely, man. And on a positive note, man, I think over the years I've actually known you. I've had the pleasure of knowing you pretty personally. You know what I'm saying?
You family, boy.
I've seen all the different steps of what I was able to see of your career. What do you think was one of the key factors that kept you motivated? As a new artist. When you were a new artist.
I always loved competition. He said he know me for a long time, but a lot of time, you know, still to this day, it's friendly competition. You know, in music, it's always about being able to utilize that competitive spirit and to push you forward. I love being in those rooms with people that maybe you shouldn't be in there with because you're the young, you know, you the young boy. You know how I feel because you started when you were mad young, just like me, bro, dropping a record at 12 years old. You know, so it's like, when you start like that, you've always been the underdog. So that mentality kind of never leaves, you know? I think if you pull from that, even when you are considered a heavy hitter, if you could still pull from that underdog, I think you have an advantage. If you wake up feeling like that, you got an advantage, and that's what I've applied. True. It's the underdog mentality, you know. But you know, I know what it's like to sleep in the back of an '89 Buick, bruh. Like I still sleep like a vampire. You feel me? Like because I was in a sleeping bag for years, you know. So I just know this ain't that hard. This ain't that bad. You feel me? Like it ain't really nothing.
When you first started out doing the whole music thing, did you have knowledge of like, I need to have an image, I need to be a brand, or were you more focused on I need to just make music at this point, and then you slowly realize like, hey, this is about being an image, being a brand, you know, like you as a person, you're an image, you know, you're not just making music.
That's important.
Like you could be a rapper and you can just post crazy stuff online, people aren't gonna take you serious, you know?
Right. So
how important was that, like in the beginning, if it was, or how like did you gradually just start learning? Okay, this is what I gotta.
I actually was in a group when I was younger, so that competitive spirit was still there in the group, right? So we were always kind of pushing each other, like skill wise, right? Like, so the skill set wasn't the issue, being the best rapper or being the learning the craft, mastering the craft at at a high level. That was always kind of a thing. I think the brand really came from, we signed our first contract with our management at the time, and who still is my management, at a very young age. We signed a contract at 12 years old. You know, we dropped Chillaxin' on the Max at 12 years old. Like, we were on the side of, the bus and the Max at 12 years old. So image was everything. And did we miss that? I think we missed. I think that was a big miss. But I think if you don't go and try it out, of course, you don't learn. So I think once I became a solo artist, right before BET, right before I was on national television, I really had started to master, like, oh man, I'm growing my hair out because I've always wanted to grow my hair out, but it made me different than everybody else. The way I was rapping, I naturally have a fast cadence when I talk, and I'm just naturally a little bit more energetic than other folk. So it played to my sound. It played to how I might dress or how I might approach the microphone on the stage. And then also, what does my brand, what's the energy of my brand? I started to turn into Mighty. Like, I just naturally, they were like, bro, he's small but he mighty. Like, it's crazy. Like, my brand kind of defined who I was as a human, and I grew into it.
Right. I don't know. It's something that just naturally developed as you grew as an artist. Right. It kind of like, there was two tiers of the personal brand, who you really are. Not that there's like a whole different person or something like that. Right. But it is that mindset that you grew into. Yeah. I think when you trust your gut, that's how things work. Yeah. When you trust your gut, I don't know. I didn't second guess my name being Mighty. I got a Mighty Mouse around my neck. You feel me? Like, that costs a lot of money, man. Right? Like, you feel me? Like, so it's not. I believe it. Yeah. My mom calls me Mighty.
You know, I got a government name, you feel me? But like my mama called me mighty. Like it's because that's the energy that I impose on my life, my career, and who I am. You know, and I think that that's a big misconception of social media and what people are doing, becoming brands nowadays.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just posted something the other day. I said, don't you hate when you meet somebody and they just be acting super dope?
Yeah.
And then when you meet them, they not that dope.
It's all about branding, because a lot of people are way different from real life to online.
Yeah, online is sometimes a whole different persona and a whole different image than their actual personality.
Right.
And when those don't meet up, that's where you have conflict, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, there's just times where I met folk and I'm like, bruh, it's very underwhelming, you know? And that's something that I never wanted my brand to, you know, to be a part of. And that's why trusting your gut is probably the most imperative piece of creating a brand. Trust your gut, you know? Now, understand and keep people in your corner that's going to steer you in the right direction.
That's
your
true.
team, your people that value who you are.
Accountable.
Right. Have your best interests. These are things that you can't buy that. You know what I mean? You need those people. Y'all been rocking for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody who's going to tell you, I ain't feeling that. You know what I mean? And it ain't personal. You feel me?
When you started doing that, did you have somebody like telling you, hey, this is what you need to do, this and that? Do you have like some kind of person manager in your corner that told you, or just you at all times? Because you only have one time to make that brand. If you mess up,
Right. Well, big shout out to Giovanni, my manager, and my second mother, like the lady that took me in when I was sleeping in the back of vehicles behind Fred Meyer's eating JoJo's or ketchup.
Like, so she helped you out with like the branding wise as well and all that.
Right.
So she had that expertise.
Right. Yeah. And she had my best interests.
There we go. Yeah.
Come on.
That's key.
Like let's talk about it. Like that's vital to have the expertise, but to have the best interest of the brand. Right. So like, and she knew to tell me like, nah, that's probably not the direction you should go. Yep. I know, I've known you since a child. This is your history. And I'm like, man,
you can trust her word.
Right. And she's like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to tell your story. I would be afraid to tell my story in music for a long time, bro. For a long time. Every new artist out there, don't be afraid to tell your story, man. Don't be afraid to be transparent on who you are, where you came from, and not just the good, but the bad, the ugly, the whatever. Exactly. Be real with it, because this world's a lot uglier.
That's for sure. It's so hard to be vulnerable just as people. Yeah. So as artists, we definitely have to make sure that we push ourselves to open up more, especially as men. You know what I'm saying? Even as men, there's certain things that bother us just as men, and that toxic masculinity can sometimes get in the way of things.
Absolutely.
But we have to make sure that we focus on ourselves and just be real with each other. You know what I'm saying?
And what would you say about like that are upcoming artists that are coming out right now? You know, they're out there putting music. They're doing a pretty good job. What would you give them advice on haters? Obviously, you're gonna have comments. You know, hateful stuff. But in person, they're gonna get love. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Bro.
And just don't even comment back or nothing like that. Or what would you?
I say comment back if you want. Oh, okay. If you got that, you know,
mouthpiece.
If you got mouthpiece, like I've had a few things go viral in the past before viral was really like viral,
and then people
a lot of comments, have popped in there. There'd be nights where I would just scroll through and look and just see what people are talking about. It's dope to see, but it's also like I think it's fun to interact with people no matter what. You know, I think the more comments you have on what you got going on, the better it is. Yeah, interact. Don't be afraid.
And just don't let it.
If it's your truth, it's your truth. People gonna hate on you regardless.
And don't let those comments go to your head either.
Yeah, right.
That's the one thing people always say, oh damn, okay.
It should never be a driver.
Maybe he's right.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe I do suck at rapping. Maybe I do suck at this.
Hey, that's another thing though. Is like sometimes criticism is real. Like sometimes they might just be trying to help you out. So so just make sure you don't view every comment as hate too, right?
Well, if you're gonna criticize, be grammatically correct. Don't just, you know what I'm saying?
Don't be like you suck.
Like
come correctly. You know what I mean?
Like, bruh, like hit Grammarly before you go to, hate on somebody. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I don't know. It's. I think it's tasteful either way, bro. I don't scroll through comments, so anybody who got enough time to scroll through the comments, figure it out. If it's my content, I do for certain reasons, but there are literally people who live in other people's comments.
Yeah.
That's the only place they live.
That's wild.
That's the only place they live, bro.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you got 7 followers. I ain't replying to you. Now if you got blue check, I might tap in. You know what I'm saying?
So just for new artists out there, what do you think is something that they can do personally to help them stand out as a new artist and to actually help them like thrive, and just some overall advice for new artists?
Yeah, I think be true to who you are, and also work on your quality. The one thing I'm not a fan of in the newer generation is that there's a lot of low quality music. Like, I love Dirk, and Dirk heavy, right? Like, he's a heavy hitter. I was so disappointed by the quality of his album, you feel me, and the ins and outs of his album. It really was underwhelming compared to a lot of other people that we put in the conversation with Dirk.
Quality like as in mix, or just quality as in just delivery of
mix? I'm talking transitions, I'm talking the overall master even. Like, there were certain elements where I was like, whoa, this really is number one right now. And that's cool with me, because sometimes it's about the energy, but when we talking like you're affecting a whole community and culture of youth trying to come into this, you should always be quality over quantity, in my personal opinion. So I don't know, I feel like quality over quantity, trust who you are, and fix the plane while you fly it, like we was talking. You feel me? Like, get after it. If you don't jump, you don't know.
With that being said, where do you see the industry kind of going right now, just from your lens?
Absolutely. I think it's a content, heavy generation. I think it's more about, how you can touch them in a impactful way in a shorter amount of time.
Right.
And I think that it's about this like this multifaceted genre thing, where you could, like, I was listening to SZA's album, and she, she dove into other realms seamlessly, very like, and it felt okay with me, like, but it's because I believe what she's talking about, and so I think it's a multi-genre. I don't know, like, I think in 10 years it's genre-less, maybe.
We should have an issue with being boxed in at this point then, right?
Yeah, I guess that's how, yes,
so you,
absolutely.
like, if you feel creative and to express yourself in a different lane, be free and do that.
Right.
See if it worked.
Right.
And if you're going to do it, commit to it. Like, be true to that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's how I see it. Because even me personally as an artist, like, I listen to everything. I'm sure you listen to a ton of different genres personally.
Right.
Like, you listen to a lot of music as well. Like, bro, if I feel like making a song that's hip-hop related, I'm going to do that.
Right.
If I feel like dropping some EDM over here, it's probably going to get
I just wrote a country song the other day. That's crazy, bro. For real.
Because we're creative, man. Creative beings. We just got to, get it out one way or another. That's how I see it.
I think it's genreless is something that could really be talked about at this point, because the content is so short now, because it's so impactful now. You know what I mean? I think that it's not necessarily this long form thing.
Yeah, and that kind of, I feel like that's where we kind of get confused. Is just like over the years and throughout history, it's just been like, have a niche, stick to your vibe. You know what I'm saying? And that's always worked for people in the past. But now it seems like it's those walls are expanding a bit, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So talking about music, I saw that you posted a bunch of stuff saying they got a bunch of placements, like TV shows, movies.
Yeah.
So a lot. So you want to like touch base exactly like what is it called? Is it a specific word for it? Just licensing music, or like you have like you go through a company, or like how does all that work?
Well, PDX Biz Talk Radio. Let's really like get into the bread and butter. This is what I like. This is where education comes in. Exactly. This is where you teaching people. You feel me? You giving them
gems.
I don't know. Yeah, you giving them something tangible to work with. Yep. So it's called sync licensing, and what you have to do is you gotta be a part of certain catalogs and certain, certain rooms with companies that will basically represent you and your sound in those pitches for like trailers, TV, commercials. I mean, you name it, custom work. There's work for hire. They can hire you to make an actual commercial. But we've done from NFL to MLB to ESPN to
GoPro.
I don't even know all of the names, bro. But what it is you're licensing your music for basically an emotion that's happening in a different space, in a different medium. So you have to find these music directors that are attached to these shows, to these experiences, as I like to say, and build relationships with them.
Because it's their job to find the music, right?
Right. They tie those emotions together with your music, or those video. Those.
So there's companies who are doing promotional assets and stuff like that, that need background music, so they have to somehow find an artist in a vibe that fits that exact content piece, and then marry it all together. So that's where the middleman or the music director would come in handy, right?
Yes. So in sync licensing, what that music director is a middleman, but then they're also the one that they sift through all of these moods and these energies that are being tossed to them in these pitches, and they even say like, the music might not be the best for this moment, but I love the brand of this person. Like we were talking about having a brand. So you have to have something that exists prior to this pitch. You can't just exist in sync licensing and not have something living outside of it, if that makes sense.
So you can't just be a song.
Right.
It's still a whole package thing that goes with it.
So a lot of people think, oh man, I just want to put my songs in. Let me throw my songs in there. Hold on. Like, why don't you create for that space? Create for that space and have a subdivided release element that fits you into the feature, or maybe a different name, maybe a Young Mill is Zeke, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, like maybe it's it's just it's a cool I think it's a cool multifaceted element to add to a music portfolio for any artist. And you're allowed to really still be yourself, but also help other people tell stories. And that's what we are. We're modern day storytellers.
So when you have those placements done, is it songs that's already out, or stuff that like you have to put on Apple Music and all that stuff, and then they pick it, or is it stuff like
it's exclusive?
Is it exclusive, like that's not released yet? Because your song Homecoming, that was like, you know, it had 1 million streams on Spotify, so that they released. That wasn't a few things, right? You correct?
Yeah. Oh man, it was super dope. I didn't even realize it was hitting like that at first, because it had a slow trajectory because it landed 2 great playlists at the time, but it in a workout world, this song was just exploding, and I started to get I had an 84% save rate on Spotify for a minute.
So they would just come across the song and be like, I'm connecting with this. I'm putting this on my list.
The list to work out.
You feel me? And it's like, okay, usually this goes to a label or to a management, but because I own my music 100%, I'm like, okay, I put the bag up, I get my little thing. It's only like a couple $100, but what's dope is you're RIA certified, bro. And like when you look at that on the wall, it's a totally different experience as an artist. It's an accomplishment that matters to you, because ears are touching your music. You feel me? Like I don't know, but the song can be out. In reference to your question, the song can be out already. It could be not doing so well, or it can be doing great. A lot of the times, it's the mood of where it's existing in sync licensing is only about that. It's never about what it did outside of there, but they will investigate that upon its deliverable, right? So like they'll check it out and be like, all right, what's the history of the person that's really rocking with this? So a lot of these companies that represent artists like us in sync licensing space, they create profiles for us and portfolios for us that when they pitch, they say, here's information on the artist. Here's what they've done. This is some of their sound. This is what they specialize in, because then they can hire you if they like your sound, or if you've landed with them prior to that, then they can hire you for things like, I did the Seattle Mariners joint here in this studio that we're recording in, and I did that based on working with people in this space and them saying, oh my goodness, like work for hire, right? Like I want that energy, I want that vibe, I want that mood. And so to me, I don't know, I feel like, I just posted something. I said sometimes the seeds of your next opportunity is in this one right here. And that you have to come into the studio ready to work, and that's what I did, and got to work for hire through that, which is pretty dope. So it can exist in many different ways, but sync licensing is a great opportunity for any artist. I would encourage every new artist to at least have a Marmoset account. Put your music up there. Anything you drop should exist in this space as well. And just let it live there.
Yeah, why do you think nobody's really talking about this? That's a good another stream of income. You know what I'm saying?
In the pandemic, I just made the move to do it. I was in a room. Shout out to Easy McCoy. I was big bro. He's the sync god, bro. Like
Farnell.
Farnell, bro. Big Farnell.
That's the boy right there.
I was just on the phone with him earlier today, and so those two really looked out for me. And he basically put me in a room and said, bro, here, create some songs. I was in a room with Issa and a few other folks. And bro, I wrote like 6 songs that night. You feel me? So, if you don't, I don't know, my seeds was in that opportunity.
Absolutely.
2 weeks later, both people from each company tapped in with me. I signed with both of those companies. And you're not signing away your rights or anything.
Right.
You're not signing. Everything is split evenly. Everything's transparent in sync licensing.
It's like a partnership then.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
really. It's
So
not,
it sounds like to me.
you're not signing to them. It's like a partnership.
Right, right, and they're representing you, and
Yeah.
and so there's a 10%, 15% fee that you get in for that, but it's like, bro, you're not, as an artist, you're not doing that, bro. I'm not in a conversation with it. Like, y'all doing y'all part. I'm paying you for that. Great,
Facts.
absolutely.
So
Let's
this-
do some more records.
Exactly. So this all ties into the genre listing that we were just talking about, like,
right.
because with all the different opportunities and for different content placement, you have to be that it kind of like rewards the versatile artist, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to, identify different moods. And the more moods that
I see
you
what
could be
you're
a
saying.
part of, right? The more moods you can experience or create the experience for,
Right.
then look, you a bigger bag. And so when I say, like, bro, I made more money with sync licensing. Now, I'll tell you, I made a lot of money in music, but I also made way more money in merchandise, bro.
Merchandise,
Like, when you
merch.
tap in with the mighty merch, like, I was dropping jerseys during Moneyball. I do like a lot of different experiences when it comes to merch, and so I made way more money, in the earlier days on tour. I would make like $2,000 in hoodies at the, at
With
the
the
show.
merch.
And I'm like, bruh, like, this is a bag.
Don't sleep on that merch. That merch grind.
And so if you don't diversify, just like stock marketing, just like anything, you feel
Right.
me? You gotta be able to, diversify your bag as an artist too.
Yeah,
So.
people just, when they first start out, I feel like they just want to release music and get paid, and do shows.
Yeah, the easy way.
Yeah.
But then they don't
that's
want
not even the easy way. Honestly.
But they don't want to invest in like a nice music video, a nice flyer, a nice logo for themselves.
Right.
They never want to do that, but they want to go and spend money on clothes and jewelry and all that
Right.
extra stuff in the beginning. Just have an image.
So with that being said, how important is it for new artists to kind of know what to invest in, or like to actually have a budget put aside for to put into their career?
Yeah. Budgeting is massive, Early on, a good example is when I went to 106 in Park, when I was on BET. I took the winnings from my first, little, whatever, my little merch sales, my little, experience, the money I made from that, some of the donations I was able to put that back into hitting these cities that voted for me, right? So this is before analytics.
That's what I was thinking about.
But they had voter analytics because they had an app that you would vote on, right?
And then show you where they came from.
And for some reason, even to this day, my analytics tell me that Chicago and like Detroit and Ohio, the Midwest really likes me for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's obviously my sound. I have that fast flow, that double time, or I have like that kind of like in your face energy a little bit. So I think my brand naturally, held in those zones, but the investment piece was huge there. That's a ROI that I put right back in.
Yeah, that data was critical for you.
Right. The money from that going back into touching those areas it would have never happened if I didn't have the data, if I didn't trust myself enough to take that money that I had just worked extremely hard for. They didn't see that I went to 6 different cities to audition. You feel me?
There was a lot that went into it.
Yeah. It's not always about the money. And so when we're talking about budgeting, it's about the money. So I think if you can differentiate that, if you can early in your career, if you can realize that ROI that you just got almost instantaneously from being on TV or being in big opportunities, put that back in, and keep doing it, keep bubbling back.
It could even be on smaller scales too. Like say you just got paid for a feature or something.
Right.
That feature should not go be tricked on some alcohol bottles and stuff like that. You got to make sure that you put that back into your career, whether that's investing in new cover art, photo shoot, video shoot, something that you can use, put that back into yourself.
Right.
That way you got other opportunities from that one opportunity you already made.
Right. A big thing that I'm doing right now is I have about 4 clients right now that I help that are younger artists or even just artists that need help in their branding experience, and help building them as like just a quality human being. It's not just an experience for an artist. Nowadays, with so much content, they have to believe in you as a human being as well.
Oh yeah.
So
that
I think
personal brand.
having those clients has helped me too when I'm educating them, when I'm sending over, an entire breakdown of their rebrand. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's bullet points that I would have given myself, as a young artist or
that's
as
a plus of you
up-and-coming
going
artist.
through doing all this over the years. That
He's a mentor.
Yep.
Right.
Now he's a mentor. He can give them people those steps so that they don't got to go through all the mistakes.
Right.
The same length of time. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of giving them a cheat code.
Right.
So you can take it from A to Z much quicker without all the zigzags.
When I'll tell you, I'm offering this service for really low amount of money over a long period of time. So I only take on certain people that I believe in, certain artists that like I run you through the gauntlet, and I'm like, okay.
But you're not out here promoting. Hey,
got it.
Pay me for that. It's probably people that you come across. Hey, this guy's potential. I'm gonna give him a chance. And then,
you know what I do is I sit down, I get a drink or a bite to eat with them, and I hear what their story, who they are. I have this dude Rome McCall that I'm working with right now. Incredible artist, bro. But just the same thing. It's like he doesn't know, that next step. He has all this music. It's dope. It needs to be mixed. You feel me? It needs to really be maybe re-recorded. With a different energy.
So it's more competitive,
right? And so it's not that he's doing it wrong. I just know I can see through some of them blemishes. You feel me? In what he's doing
to make it better,
right? And so that's another way to turn around your investment of fixing the plane while you fly it. You can land that plane and go teach other planes how to take off and fix while you up. You see what I'm saying? Like it's kind of cool being able to do that, because when in the beginning of this show, when you said philanthropist, it still feels weird hearing that. That's why I answered. That's why this episode started like that, because it feels weird. That word just kind of throws me off because I don't do it from a space of like, this is, I'm gonna do it because I'm this is a title of mine. I do it because I have a special spot for people who just are on their way,
and you enjoy doing it too.
Yeah, it's a passion, bro.
For you as an artist, early in your career, what were some things that you like really went through that maybe fucked you up, that like maybe set you back, maybe had you like, man, I'm about to quit, but you, being the artist that you are, decided I need to keep going.
Right. So I actually quit music for 2 years after BET. My uncle, my dad's twin brother, passed away in open heart surgery. His heart like drowned, a stent broke and he drowned basically. And yeah, music just didn't matter no more, man. And so I remember packing everything up. I remember putting everything away. I had a 1-bedroom apartment, I was recording in the living room so that like when I walked into the house, I couldn't say no to it. It was like right there, you feel me? So I don't know, it was so a part of my being that I didn't even almost know what to do without it. And so I started realizing like, oh, okay, I went and tried some other things. This is when I started trying painting, or I tried some like other just outlets that kind of would help me through things. The first time I ever sat down with a therapist, because grieving was a crazy thing. Lost my cousin when I was mad young. Lost a lot of people in my life when I was like, I'm talking like right in front of me, like watching it happen. So I was wondering what was going on. My mind was just in a crazy space. And then my boy Aaron O'Brien Smith, he sent me a raw sample drum pack of a snare. It was like boom, pat, 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 boom, pat, pat, pat. And I had been not making music for almost 2 years. It was like 18 months. And no joke, he sent me that. He said, "Come on, Mighty." And in the background, in the beat, I forgot, in the background of the beat, he was like, "Come on, Mighty." Hey.
Fired him back
up. And when he sent that, and I wrote a song called Victory. And that record was a huge, I ended up writing that, and it was actually done for a long time, and I never wanted to do anything with it. The video actually dropped almost a year after the song did. It wasn't even like, there was no plan. It wasn't
like a rollout.
There was nothing. If you have things that are gonna maybe ruin your plans, right? I think I said it one time. I said sometimes, what you have in mind is not what he has in store.
That's exactly
like trust the process.
Trust the process. Yeah. The reason why I was wondering that is just because artists everywhere, man, they have hardships, and it's like sometimes people just literally just drop everything and never come back.
Right.
But seeing your story, I was curious about that because you have so many things that you went on to do after that moment.
Man,
so I wanted to see if there was something in there that somebody at home could take from that.
Man.
And I think they got some.
Victory changed my entire trajectory as a human being and as an artist. Victory literally was about victory. Like we said, what if waking up was celebrated like a victory lap?
Yeah, but do you feel like an artist, if they went through what you did, it's fine to take some time off, no matter how long it is,
Ooh, right.
but at least come back to that.
Right. Yo,
Don't just quit completely.
I never looked at it like that because my intent was not to come back.
Yeah.
So I think if you're gonna move and you're gonna I think it's always good to take breaks. Anything in it's always good to understand your output, right? Because as a creative we have a misconception of what that means.
Right.
Because we're creators. You see things, and I have visions in negative space. You feel me? Like I see things before they ever even and that can sidetrack your entire day. So I think understanding like the workload piece and when to take a break is super important, but move with intent and be deliberate. So you understand if you do take a break, what it's like to get back. Have a plan to get back before you take a break, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
At the same time, some people aren't really meant to be what they doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of artists out here, like another question I want to ask you about local local artists here. Like I've noticed a lot of local artists that just care about being Portland famous. Portland. So I noticed that a lot of, even on Facebook. Oh, how come nobody supports me in Portland? Other cities support me, going back to the whole, like where are my fans from, instead of focusing on Portland, those artists should focus on the other cities, because eventually once you get popping over there, boom, like another, Amine, like he was, he blew up and all of a sudden he's sold out show at first, when he first came back.
Right. Yeah, sometimes you gotta work backwards. Then,
So a lot of artists. So what do you say to those artists that like just want to focus on being Portland famous, like local,
Yeah.
When you want to be more than just local, obviously,
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be absolutely real. Sometimes that's all you are. Like
just local,
which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But I'm saying, but remember some of the questions before. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Trust who you are. Like, if that's just what you are, be the best at what you are. You feel me? I think sometimes people are grabbing too high. There's a disparity in what you're reaching for. That just doesn't make sense. And then there's times where people who have put in the work, like for me, when I see somebody like Amine not in the culture, that's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
And then when you don't reach back, when I saw him reach back to Mike Capes, I loved it. Yeah. When he's bringing Mike Capes on stage in Portland, I love to see it.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of how he was operating earlier, because if you was in the culture, you was like, where he at? You wasn't supporting. Now that's no hate, but that's a reality. Yeah. When you see him reach back to Portland and put Mike Capes on a stage in front of a sold out show, respect, salute. You feel me? That's a great way to do it. Now, I think that's a natural reach. He did it in a way that made sense. But if you're someone saying, yo, I ain't on the top 10 list, but you ain't got nothing to show for it, you just don't be not everything's gonna be motivational. Sometimes it's about just putting in the work. You gotta go get ugly with it. know, so you gotta be in the trenches in order to talk about what you're doing. I'll tell you like this. I was in the crowd when Cool Nuts and them and at an E40 show, and all the openers had like 4 or 5 people in the crowd, and me and Rez was 2 of them. Yeah. And I wasn't even old enough to be at the show. Like I had X's on my hands with my hands up. Like been there, done that. You feel me? So when if I say something like, oh, I'm not in the top 10 list, which obviously I don't care, but if when OG1 dropped this top 10 list and I'm number 10. I'm like, what, bro? I was juiced. Cause I was like, what? Because it's like when you see who's on somebody's top 10 list like that, that matters.
That matters.
Exactly. Especially when you can look at the list and you respect, okay. And it's coming from a source where it's like, okay,
reputable.
You know what I mean? It can't just be so-and-so from over here who got this many homies that is on the top 6, and then whoever it is, of course, guys who know it in the town, you know what I'm saying?
I just think that it's so it's so subjective,
It
bro.
really is.
It's like, oh, I'm the best. I should be on there.
Yeah.
But they don't really got much to show, like you said. Like you have to show something, not just because you can rap.
Well, hip-hop is an interesting culture.
Yeah.
It's the only culture that things like that happen in.
Yeah.
It's the only, not only culture, the only genre, the only genre that things like this happen in. No other genre are they battling each other face to face and talking about their style and how they better than you.
Right.
No other genre is doing that. I mean, battle of the bands a little bit. The guitar and the drummers kind of go at it, you feel me? But it's not like that. So that competitive nature in hip hop is what fuels a lot of that and can also be the downfall of great infrastructure in hip hop. Yeah. So I do genuinely feel like it's always going to be there. It's so subdivided that it will always be there. But look, man, as a young artist, if you're not making lists or you're letting that dictate who you are, I say just go put in the work.
Yeah.
Go hit the grindstone. Make sure your music is at a high quality. Study, be a student in the game, and make sure that you're executing your plan. Make a plan. And then if you're at a point 2, 3, 4 years in, and you're like, yo, I've really done everything. I've checked every box, and you're still not making lists. You might want to recalibrate what it is you're doing and why it's not working. That's how you be effective in this world. You know, in general. You know,
when it comes to like the local talk, man. Like if you're an artist, you really got to think about who you competing with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you think that you better than everybody in the town, that's okay.
Right.
Just like you said, you setting your bar only so high.
Right.
But if you think you better than everybody in the town, then shouldn't you be competing with the circumference?
Factual.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I see it. That's kind of the vision that I've always had as an artist.
Yeah.
Being born and raised in Portland.
Factual.
It was never about being the hottest in Portland, even though I feel like I've had some time being the hottest in Portland.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and that was never
this man
that was never the end goal though. You know what I'm saying? And everybody should get their chance at that.
Yep.
And that's I want everybody in town to really like soak that up and then just take it further, dog.
Right.
That's all we need to put the town on.
Right.
Yeah.
Is to go outside of the town,
man,
and make those connections with people, shake those hands, kiss those babies,
be a good representative.
Exactly, because how you gonna rep the town in the town?
Right. Doesn't that sound weird? You just said that. It sounds weird.
It sounds weird.
Like grammatically, bro. Like it don't even feel right.
Hey, so you've been doing music for a long time. So what got you into Laced Up? So Laced Up, I was Epic was involved for that. So we so you gave back. Is it beginning of the school year? You give back to kids school supplies, backpacks, whatever else they need, right?
Yeah.
So that's the main reason for back to school, pretty much. So how did that start? How did that name come about? Because the name was dope, Laced Up. Because you literally lace them up for school, like that's dope. So how did it all come along or come about, and who was involved in it?
It was 5 years in the making before the first year.
Oh wow!
I had an idea 5 years prior, and I just kind of marinated on it, and I just knew I wasn't in the space to be able to do it at the time, but I knew I always wanted to. I worked if you know me, and I'm speaking to everybody in Portland. If you know me, you know I be in my community. Don't play with me.
Yeah.
I've been I grew up in the after school program. I ain't have nowhere to go. I was the last kid being picked up by the sheriff because he was a police officer. He was one of the volunteers at the after school program. He was my basketball coach, and he would take me back to my uncle's house in a police car. Yeah. So I used to hide in the bushes because I was embarrassed of going back to the apartments in the back of a police car.
Of course.
Yeah, man, I just basically looked at my idea and said, all right, I've been in the community as like someone who needs the after school care. My mother needed it because she was a single parent working 3 jobs, you feel me? And really was just trying to take care of her kid and couldn't be with me. So she had to send me to this program. When we would be a part of the give backs, I hated waiting in line for like turkeys and coats and build the bike. Bro, I've been a part of every single give back you can ever think of, bro.
Wow.
I was that kid. I was with the little trailblazers getting coats and shit. I was that kid. They would interview me, oh, do you like your new bike from the police officers? And I'm like, yes, it's great. And the next day the bike broke. It was whack. Like the shirt I had, I didn't want to wear that shirt because it had all the promo on the back. It had all the sponsors on the back. And everybody knew I was broke. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just whack. Like that's not how you give to people. So the whole inception of Laced Up came from actually being a kid who was being helped. And so I was in those lines. And so I created an event where you're not in line. This event is not first come, first serve.
Yeah.
The entire opposite of what you're supposed to do in the world of giving. And so I created a thing called a sneaker list where, because I knew everybody in the community, I worked with hella community advocates. I knew I could just go into Park Rose and be like, all right, where's the kid who's too prideful to let people know he homeless? Because that's me. Where he at? Where he at? And the teachers would be like, "Oh, Mighty, I know you, man. You from the joint from over here, boo." You know,
They
and
probably
so
know you from
right,
Yay High too.
right. And so I just went to all my connections in that regard and was like, "Yo, I'm gonna help them kids that really need it." And guess what? How the partners are going to be involved is they're going to be a part of who's on this sneaker list. They're going to go and purchase with us
Sneakers.
Right. So I put Microsoft on, and Microsoft went and personally shopped for these kids. So that we'd look on the list and it'd say Isaac, 18. Favorite color blue. He's a hooper. His favorite cartoon is Naruto. Shoe size. And you know what I mean? And we would literally like, and it was dope because the Microsoft worker would like pull the name, be like, all right, Isaac, man, he love blue. Okay, Isaac popular, bro. I think Isaac popular. Okay, let's. And so when Isaac shows up to Laced Up PDX at the beginning of the school year, his shoe is already there,
ready to go.
And
his shoe is already there. Then
So
when
he
shows
excited
up
to get to school at this point.
right?
So you
when
charging up the kids,
dude,
I like this.
and it's not first come first serve, bro. We're not just helping as many people as we can until we ain't got no shoes. And sorry, you got to leave. You don't get no help today. That's not how it works. It's you coming here to pick up something that is for you. You're special.
Yeah.
This is for you. You matter to us. But upon arrival, how can we make this experience a little bit better? Let's take a look. All right, let's provide shoes. Let's provide backpack, school supplies. Let's offer haircuts. Let's get you fresh to death. Yep. You know what I mean? Now we got some sponsors around the edges that can do like raffles and Microsoft bringing in the laptops and all the, whole 2K tournaments. Yep. And then we got SmackDown in here cooking up burgers. You feel me? Yeah. And there's a menu that you get to choose off of.
Oh, that's dope.
Like you go and there's a menu because you know why? You matter, bro. Yeah. Like, and as a homeless youth, I was homeless for 12 years of my life, bro. 12, bro. Man. That matters, bro.
That way you don't feel like, somebody feel bad for you.
People didn't know I was homeless, bro. They was like, yo, Mighty dope. It's because I got a mouthpiece and I'm confident. That didn't mean I didn't have nowhere to go. I'm off school. I ain't got nowhere to go. Yeah. I don't want to leave basketball practice, bro.
Yeah. Like, where am I going?
Bro, that's why my bag's so big. Y'all bet you got a backpack, I got a duffel, bro. Yeah. I ain't got nowhere to go, bro.
I got everything in here.
Family. So that is the real inception of it. It took 5 years to create. The logo is based on, it was just based on when I said Laced Up PDX. I was with a few of my friends at the time, and we had like the kickoff. Yeah. We had like the this, the that. We had all these names we was kind of digging on. And then my homegirl Rachel just was like, yo, that Laced Up? Or no, it was Lace Up. And she goes, what if it was Laced Up?
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, like past tense?
Yeah, like you got him.
Ooh,
he's laced.
Like he been laced up. You're just giving him the the tools. He already got it. You just giving him the, and I was like, you just putting the cherry on on top.
And where is the location at, by the way? Where do you throw these events at? Is it like one particular location, or a song gets bigger and you have to have bigger?
Well, the first one was actually at the old PAL building.
I remember.
PAL Youth Center. It was and we funded that with our own dollar. Yeah. We helped 80 kids. Second year, 350 kids. Yeah. Third year, it was like 525 kids. So, and when we look at the cut down of this, it ends up being like almost 5,000 families total. Wow. Because we did a lot of small events, right? So, yeah, about 5,000 families total. And I don't know, man. The growth, usually just like business, nonprofits go like this, and then they go back up. You kind of get this dope little wave, and then you go down because don't nobody want to give to you. And then
then you gotta raise more funds.
Laced Up was like, we landed Jordan Brand, we landed Epic. You feel me? We landed. You feel me? Like
that's hard.
We landed some incredible brands, Microsoft, Timberlands. You feel me? Like
wild,
we had some crazy brands on board. But it's because of the going against the grain, and so the inception of this, man, was really about just making sure people feel as special as they should feel.
That'd be dope. I think I have two ideas that you should maybe incorporate with your thing. Maybe have like a VR company, so that way during Laced Up, kids can come experience VR because they never.
Yes.
The second thing,
that'd be fun.
The second thing is somehow get exotic cars to come there and either showcase it, have the
do
kids,
photo shoots with the kids,
have the kids, or if they're okay with the kids getting ridden in it, then we come back.
Right. So we did a little bit of that. My boy Shane from Majestics did the whole hydraulics and the whole we had
the low riders.
Yeah, the low riders, and we had all them out in the front, which was kind of a dope experience. He was a I don't know, I wouldn't say a partner. He's just a homie. Yeah. He was like, "Can I pull up? I'm throwing some some bread at you. Can we just pull up? I'm like, yeah, like that's kind of what Laced Up was all about. It was just the homies coming together.
When's the next one?
That's a good question.
The August 2023, baby.
Where's it at?
Coming in.
We don't know yet.
Let us know.
Okay.
Real quick, if you want the exotic cars, I can make it happen.
Okay.
I can have a few at least pull up and just park and then have kids come and take pictures.
If I want them. You hear this, man? If you want these exotic vehicles. Okay, bro. All right, bro.
You got the chain, too.
Okay.
Let me see the chain. Hey, flash the chain.
Come on, bro.
Shout out to Laced Up, man. Laced Up. You already know
and
it
it's funny, people was like, bro, I don't know about the chain, bro. That might for the nonprofit. I said, no, I bought this with my own money, baby.
Yes.
This is mine.
Yeah, it's mine.
I just believe it that much, and I understand that the brand, it's going to be the first nonprofit that is almost doper as a brand than it is as a nonprofit. And a lot of people can't see those things in the same realm. A lot of people can't see the Nike or the Just Do It and a nonprofit together. But I really want to be the first person that can take a brand and a nonprofit and merge them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense too.
Yeah, man, with all the nonprofit stuff and the Laced Up, that's such a crazy movement to me. I think you've been doing a great job with that over all these years, bro.
Thank you, man.
And I honestly want to get involved somehow. Any way I can get involved, I definitely will. I know this guy got all the mastermind for whatever we can do to help you expand. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But yeah, bro. But aside from that, and aside from the music, is there anything else that drives you right now? I think there's some other opportunities. I think that had surfaced that you posted about. Involving like the art scene. Stuff like that. What's going on with that? I've seen some pictures and portraits you painted at the crib. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like it started about, I think it said it was 4 years or something. 4 years that I've been painting, and it was never a thing. Like I've always been an artist. My mother's an artist. My mother is incredible. Her grandmother was like iconic with the shit. Like did murals and oil paintings all through our houses. Like my grandma's house had this like thing that like they would say don't touch it because you could feel the mountain on the photo. And they were like, do not touch it, it's off limits. But like she was next level, bro. And so my mother got it from her.
Yeah.
And all of my mom's sisters are kind of crafty in this like really unique way, bro.
Yes.
And so I think I just naturally had the bug, and so I would draw a lot as a kid, and I can draw any like cartoon character off just like I could draw Sonic right now with my eyes closed.
Memory.
You're right, because it's like I've drawn things like that, like comic book characters, and like I've drawn that stuff literally since I was like 3-4 years old. So that was something like drawing is fun, but I never had the patience for it. As I got older, I was like, nah, who buying a drawing? I used to go around my apartments when I was like 5 trying to sell drawings to, strangers. Be like, you need this drawing. Like, I was hustling at like 5. Painting really started only like 4 years ago. I just literally was like, yo, I want to see what I could do. I just want to see. And by no means am I an artist that is on a level of anyone that is actually doing it. I don't ever want to like step on anybody's toes. I just enjoy it.
You love doing it, yeah.
Good.
It's the expression, like the moment of output is so different than music. Music is like exercising for me.
Yeah.
It's like pushing my mind to limits that I've never been able to go to. And like deciphering stuff, it's like this crazy workout. That I'm infatuated with experiencing.
It's like a puzzle with words,
right?
And stuff.
But
the difference
with art, it's more with painting. It's this therapeutic. Like I forget about time. There's no rules. There's not a rule applied to anything. And in music, there's nothing but rules. You see what I'm saying? Like
your formats and structures.
Right. So it's a totally different vibe, and it just really, I started growing. I would literally just post my paintings online, not for any, I was about to turn off all comments, all likes and everything if I could. It was never about that. It was for me in 5 years, I want to be able to look back. I want to see how much better I got.
Yeah, the progress.
Right, that's all. The first 3 years, people were trying to buy my paintings all the time, which they're not that good. I just got a cool little following. And people were offering me money. I was turning it down and I was just giving it to them. Because it wasn't about the money. Now, I got to this point where I feel like I can express myself through painting in such a dope way. I feel more confident now. I didn't have, it's not confidence like, yo, I'm out here doing my thing. No, it's not even that. I just, now when I post it, I say serious inquirers only, because I only want to, like, I'm not doing where people just want me to paint their grandmother, I'm not doing commissions. I'm not doing that.
But do you specifically have a painting that you paint, like, or what do you do specifically? Because there's, you gotta, like, what do you do exactly, like portraits or cartoons, like you mentioned.
And see, that's also a thing. Like, there's still no rules. Like, you could be a brand. I'm not necessarily trying to be a brand in art. I'm just not, bro.
It's whatever.
And that is kind of like my brand. Is that there's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules.
Right. There's no prints. So a big part, it's called Art by Matthias Daniel. But it's a big, my slogan, really, like my mantra, I don't know, is no prints available. No prints available. Like, we're not. This is one is existing,
and that's it.
And that's it. Never again. It will never be painted again. So that's my selling point, bro. Yeah. Is that when you come and rock with me, you're getting something that will never exist again. I've done a few commissions based on, like, the experience and the growth of it, or like what it'll teach me, and you have to accept that if you're gonna pay me. You feel me? Like, and that's cool. But I'm also like, they're just not that fun, because it's like, unless you're coming to me for my, your commission is like, yo, I want you to do something like this, but in your vibe.
Yeah, I feel like you can, like, build that following, the art following, to the point where when you have feature shows, you can have one-of-one pieces, like little things, post it and do the whole pay what you want method. Right. Because you never know. I think that'll be dope. Yeah, it might take a lot of time, but you never know what people can, be paying for.
Right. I think that's a beautiful idea. There's a way around certain rules in art that we think exist, because art has existed for so much longer, than a lot of other things. There is no right price. Not even the artist who created it knows its price.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right.
Just trying to evaluate something that you just came from your mind is such a task.
It's something that I don't know. So to be sitting here in front of you guys and an incredible podcast with all these cameras, talking about these weird little drawings I be doing, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy, because I just never put myself in these shoes. I did not have the confidence whatsoever for years to ever be here talking about it. But I told myself 2023 is my leap year. Yeah. That's what I consider 2023 for me. Jordan, leaping, leap year, you feel me? So
you said the confidence wasn't there, but, like, didn't you just recently do, like, a showcase of some sort, or some, like, kind of gallery?
Man, I was just going to say, 2023 being the leap year, I told myself, I was so spun out over putting my art in public, and I told myself, all right, you're gonna do this. You're gonna commit. I signed a contract. I'm doing consignment at a tattoo shop, at an art collective.
I like that. How does that work?
So consignment, they take 10%. So they take a percentage, but they only take 10% at the tattoo shop, and you have to be identified as an art collective. So that space has to be identified as that. And then what they do is people will search art collectives or art shows, and they will show up randomly, like, just
on
to
Google.
Yeah, and they will just go and vibe with the art that's in that space. That's aside from their business of tattooing, people leave after the tattoo and they buy art on the way out. Like, their walls are always refilling.
Oh, I get it. So you pretty much put it on the wall and it's for sale, and then if they sell it, consignment. Yeah, I get it.
That's cool. Yeah, consignment. So that to me was one of the scariest moments of my entire life.
Because you revealed yourself to the world at this point.
Bro, I committed to it, bro. But I understand branding. I understand, the commitment of jumping. I know what that means. It doesn't make it any easier. Just because we're sitting here saying, like, oh, man, you got the confidence, you did the music. No, it's not the same.
It's a different industry.
It's a whole different
industry.
Dude. And when I'm up there putting the art up, I'm like shaking, bro. I was so nervous. I'm never nervous before I perform, bro. Like, I'm nervous in certain elements, but not like that, bro. I was so nervous, bro. So I'm putting up the art. The lady that works at the front was, like, helping me, and she was like, yeah, you should put them like this, put them like this. She's like, man, you're gonna sell. These are beautiful. Like, it's crazy that I was just in that moment. So at the Tattoo Collective right now, at Shade and Lines Art Collective in Vancouver, Washington, I will be up all January. So she even asked, she said, we can have them up longer if you want, because I really like like your work in person, it's crazy. When you see art in person, it's just something different, man. So I don't know. I usually work with the medium of acrylic, and then I just I paint usually. I scale larger. So my latter goal in 2023 is to do a mural in Portland, and I've already had some people ask about it, but I need to have the right space and I need to have the right time to do it. So we'll see, but the consignment is the first step. And I've sold one piece so far. I put up 8. And I did all those pieces in 1 year.
That's what's up, man. You said you broke through, bro. That kind of reminds me of like when you do your first show or something, because those nerves are probably bothering you. But once you got on stage, you knocked it out the park. Man, it never hits you the same way again. When you're never that nervous again.
Right.
So once you started dropping your art, I feel like that's probably the same thing that kind of happened for you,
man,
right?
You said it right there, man.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely, man. Well,
and it's all about being like very uncomfortable, you know, like doing things outside the box, you know,
that comfort zone.
Like, because for music, I'm sure you can like just talk music all day. You know what I'm saying?
Course.
That's my box. That's my box.
Saying, but like for me, I can talk about detailing all day. I can teach somebody to go make a detail shop, making over $500,000 a year. You know,
right?
Easy. But now that I started my new screen print company, you know, that's a whole new thing for me, bro. I'm over here like I'm spending so much money every day investing in this thing, not making any money yet, you know. But it's just like stepping outside the box and trying to like grow, you know, as a person
exactly, bro. It's just like with my new YouTube channel, bro. Like it's so much different. Like I'm doing like all tech reviews and stuff like that.
Which is incredible. Go subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe to that Zeke Digital channel.
Zeke Digital.
You know what I'm saying? But like, bro, it just comes down to like you make something your first love. You make it. You get it to a certain point. You bubble it up, and you love it, and you keep doing it. You good at it.
Right.
Once you try something else, that's a whole nother animal, and that's a great feeling because it's something new for you.
Right.
And that's something you guys got to make sure you do too. It's like don't get too comfortable. Make sure you get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And it's all making that first thing that you have, at least make that to a point where you're a cash cow, where you can actually use some of those funds, pay your bills, and then start something else. I see a lot of people that do this, do that, jumping around. But then
before it works,
the one thing isn't like set in stone, and then you can start other things.
And you never know how much time you have. Time is our biggest asset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to understand that. Like you can talk about reinvestment, you can talk about not making nothing at the beginning. But no, man, what's the time look like? How much? You're not going to be here forever. So trust yourself in what you're doing. And
enjoy
maybe it will just work out for you. And it may not, and that's all right. But if you believe in yourself and just express yourself in a way that makes you feel better, it'll work out, man.
Absolutely, man.
Gut,
we really appreciate you for coming through for the podcast. I feel like it was pretty much overdue, but you know how things go. We've been moving at a steady pace. PDX Biz Talk podcast has been brought to you today by Epic Home Detailing and Aeon Visual. And of course, Mighty Nation too, bro. You already know what it is.
You guys subscribe.
Make sure y'all subscribe, comment,
share everything for us. Appreciate that.
Let us know in the comments below who you think we should have on the show next, and also let us know what song by Mighty that you just checked out is your favorite in the comments, man. Thank y'all for coming, man. Of course, it's PDX Biz Talk, the PDX Business Podcast. You know what it is, man. We'll catch you on the next one. All right, y'all.